Very good morning, masters. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining today. I thank my Guruji, Brahmashi, Pitama Patriji, and all the pyramid masters, and all the meditators, and especially thanks to all the Malaysian masters, and throughout the world, everybody. Today we are doing the 12th part of Karma and Reincarnation. So far it is so great. It's a great response from many people. A lot of people keep asking me many questions, which is opening up a lot of knowledge and wisdom for everybody. I'm very happy that every day people are watching the Karma series, all the past 11 series, and I'm getting great response from everyone. And the learning you are doing is very, very important. Let us begin today's session. Remember always the Sanskrit meaning of karma is work. That is, doing is karma. Karma is never called as punishment in any of the scriptures. It is wrongly misunderstood by many people. When we have karma, we come. After finishing all the lifetimes, still we come. The difference is either we are here for learning or paying back karma or doing in parallel, or we are here for guiding others. As long as we have any balance in the earth, we keep coming to this school called earth. Once the balance is over, we go back to the higher schools, to the higher education, to the other planetary galaxies. How does this karma carry from one lifetime to another? This is very important. Everything gets noted. In ancient knowledge, it's called Chitragupta. He has a book and he makes note of every good and bad deed we do, we think, we feel. So this Chitragupta is nothing but, in English, it is called notes. It's a textbook or a notebook. In all our bodies, these notes are stored in the form of sound and vibration. So there are some permanent atoms in our body, and there are millions of temporary atoms. After this physical body death, these permanent atoms still carry forward to next lifetimes. It is our balance. It is our imbalance. So when we create anything in the earth plane, we come back to fulfill it. We come back to compensate it. Because we are here for learning. And when we interfere with other life forms or other beings or other co-workers or family members, whoever it is, we have to compensate in next lifetime being in this body. Because we created the karma being in this body. So we come back and being in the body, we need to pay back. Karma is nothing for the soul. The soul doesn't have any karma. The karma is only for the body. The merits and the demerits of the body is nothing but the result of the present incarnation. So when this physical body, when you do some action and you trouble others, or you kill others, or you create pain to others, or interfere others, so you are making the other person blocked. So unless until that is cleared, you have to take birth again. So you created your own reality, yad bhavam tad bhavate. So when you create that reality, you have to come back, and being in this body, you are whole and soul responsible to clear it. There is no escape. When somebody dies in Tibetan Buddhist monasteries, they will search for such lamas where they are born. Way back in 2007, in my neighborhood, there used to be a boy called Pratap. He looks exactly like a Buddhist monk. Big ears, very tiny eyes, little big nose, a very cool and composed guy, a very great meditator, great third eye master. So he once went to Sri Lanka in a school trip. And in Sri Lanka, there are a lot of Buddhist temples, we know that. So when they were visiting, suddenly a group of lamas came and took this boy to a side and they hugged him. They did something, all the ceremonies, and then they said, "Thank you, bye-bye." So all these school fellows are like astonished to see what is happening. This fellow said, "They have identified that I am reborn." So these monks, they keep searching for the Dalai Lama or Lamas, where they are again reborn. They keep searching and they identify. So they come back with the different bodies, the same soul. When do we keep coming back under the account of karma is until we become independent and individual. Astral masters, angels are around us, surrounding us, helping us until the day we become independent and individual. Around me, there are no angels, no astral masters. I don't need because I'm independent and individual. I am astral master to many people in parallel dimension. I go and guide physically, astrally. So when you become an independent guy, when you become an individual guy, you don't need any external support because the moment you are enlightened, you can take care of yourself and you can guide others. Only guidance is allowed. There's always the saying, I keep saying that where the angels fear, the fools rush in. Guidance can be given, yes. Direction can be showed, but never ask anybody to walk in that path because that decision has to be taken by the individual. If many people ask me some weird questions or the troubles in their life, I always answer, if I am in your situation, this is what I do, and your decision you take. After reciting the entire Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna by Sri Krishna, at the end, Sri Krishna simply said, hey, I have given my knowledge, but the decision you take. So he has given the freedom of taking the will, whether to kill or whether to die by Arjuna. He said, you don't need to listen to me. I have told you the truth. Decision you have to take. So the angels fear because they don't want others to be like a subordinates or others to just follow the instructions. No way. The truth shall be given. And until unless you become independent, you become individual, there's no question of enlightenment. We don't have any rights to interfere into others' affairs, decision making. Until otherwise, people, when they deliberately ask you, I have two choices, what should I take? It has to be a very calculative answer. You cannot abruptly say, take this, don't take that. So you need to be, there are exceptions are always there, but most of the times, when it comes to the Karma Siddhanta, you have to give the advice, you have to give the knowledge, not force anybody to follow what you say. There should not be any external force, no emotional dramas. I've seen a lot of parents making all the emotional dramas so that the kid will listen. By force or by emotions, they make all dramas. So we should never interfere into anybody's affairs. We are here for coexistence. We are here to become independent. We are here to become individual with freedom. We want freedom. That's why we are here. And we get more freedom by giving more freedom to others. Otherwise, it is called karma. When we interfere into others' affairs, we make others feel uncomfortable and then their soul progress get blocked. Thereby, you unnecessarily get caught in the complex web form of karma, which should be avoided at any cost. Every goal of every person is to become independent and also individual. so that you can cooperate with the cosmic law and the purpose. Not with your country law, not with other countries' law. These are okay, you need to follow, but the goal is not this. The goal is to comply with cosmic laws and the purpose. The real purpose is very, very important. We have very short purpose. We go to a place, so we make a small trip, we enjoy the trip. That is a small purpose. But there is a very big trip. We have come to the earth to live for 50 or 100 or 200 years. So this purpose, you can know from the cosmos. In order to know that purpose, you need to follow the cosmic laws. So you have to cooperate with the cosmic laws and also the cosmic purpose. Then your life of purpose will be fulfilled. Otherwise, you will take one more birth with the same vision and mission. So it is now or later. The soul is not in a hurry because every lifetime of yours is just one fraction of second for a soul. So whether you do now or next lifetime, the soul has a lot of patience. Better to do it today. Better to do it now when we know the truth. Each and every body we have, right from the physical body to the nirvanic body, everything has a sound and a vibration. Everything records, everything has notes. Now, you cannot escape anything. Everything we speak, everything we think, every emotion gets noted. And these will be carried forward to next lifetimes. And all our past lives, we have already carried forward to this particular lifetime. We have to purify all our words, emotions, thoughts. Else, you will carry. And how do we purify it? All these bodies has to be purified. All the words, all the notes you have, all these lifetimes, you need to purify. How do we purify? We would have spoken many words in the past, our past lives. How are we going to purify it? By speaking truth, by speaking sense, by speaking consciously this lifetime, we correct even the past. This in Sanskrit, it is called Vakshetra. Vak means the word. As Jesus said, what goes in comes out. If we eat animals, we speak cruel words. The sattvic food will give sattvic words. What goes in, that comes out. Both are important. What we hear, what we eat is very, very important because those gunas will get agitated inside. And with that gunas, the final output is words. The Vakshetra is very, very important. The words we speak are very, 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 very important because the words we speak, we are listening to it. So we are making a self-correction. And when we are aligned with the truth, when we speak the truth, the other person, their system gets refined. And when we speak untruth, when we speak harsh words, making others uncomfortable, we are creating blocks inside them. And that is a great karma. And anything we see, anything we speak, we are the first witness. So it's a great opportunity for all of us to correct our every word we speak. There is no hurry. Give a pass before you speak anything. Have filters. Only speak the words if at all it is going to make the other person evolve. Otherwise, be in mauna. Why do we need to speak? When we speak, we have to experiment this. Anything can be achieved, but you need to always have a small targets. 40 days is a beautiful target, a one mandala, 40 or 41 days. So you have to have a target. So these 41 days, I'm going to be very conscious on every word I speak. Why? Because I want to correct all my past lives and past years of improper Vakshetra. And also, I want to ensure everything I speak makes the other person evolve. With this goal, we evolve. If there is no goal, we just go and we keep saying, I have left everything to the nature will take care. Yes, the nature will take care, but you have to align with the nature. If you are against the nature, how will the nature be aligned to you? So Vakshetra is very, very important. This comes with a conscious practice. The second is the mind. How are you going to take care of the mind? You cannot control the thoughts which is coming in, but whether to act or react or ignore, it is in your hand. Always remember, the thoughts can come from the food you eat. The thought can come from your gunas. The thought can come from your own mind. The thought can come from others' mind. The thoughts can come from the space where you are living. It can be anything. Somebody is thinking about you, their thoughts comes to you. We cannot filter it, we cannot distinguish. Rather, let any thought comes, no problem. I am going to see if it is useful, I am going to bother, otherwise I'll ignore. Don't feel bad ever in your life saying, why am I getting these kind of thoughts? Because the moment you feel bad or moment you criticize it, the moment you start thinking about the thoughts you get, you are adding energy to it. Anything that when you add energy, it is going to multiply, it is going to sustain. Anything which you ignore, it will perish. Ignore, ignore, ignore. Only if it is useful, necessary thoughts you catch hold. Otherwise, simply ignore. We don't need it. The art of listening, we know. Art of ignoring, you must learn. Art of ignoring our unnecessary thoughts in the mind. More useful, less useful. That's it. Then comes the emotions. You may get angry. You may get upset. But one observation, if you can carefully do it, before meditation, any emotion, you will hold it for days or years. I know people who hold some emotions for years. The more you meditate, the more you read books, the more enlightened and individual and independent you become. The time in between you getting into some emotion and coming out will lessen. It will keep reducing. As long as we are in the physical body, as long as we have emotional body, we tend to go into such any emotions. But our wisdom will bring us out in a very short span of time. You may get angry, but the next moment, your wisdom should immediately say, there is no you and me, there is only I. So I am angry on myself. So you will come here quickly because we are universal beings, yet we are conscious that we are independent here. You must know that, remember always the truth that everything is universal. Everything is one, then one and the same. The same plastic, it is in the form of a bottle, it is in the form of a pen, it is in the form of a light, it is form of a table. The same soul, it is in different forms of humans, animals, plants. Everything has individuality, everything has independence, everything has a name, yet the source is same. We have to help each other. We have to support each other. We don't make anybody dependent. Don't make anybody dependent on you. Show them the way, guide them. They have to independently do it, independently walk. We have to purify all our bodies, the physical, the emotions, the mental, all these things you need to purify. By speaking the right words, you are purifying your own words from the past and the present. By ignoring all the unnecessary emotions, you are purifying your own emotional body, which you have accumulated all these years. Your thoughts, your emotions, words, you have to be sole and whole responsible to purify it. Nobody will come and purify for you. There's a self process. Once you are pure, once you are independent, once you are individual, you become a sage. Then everywhere you go, you affect that place. There was a tree. When Buddha sat under it, when he meditated and then finally left, that tree is not the same tree anymore. The nature of the tree has changed. Because of the sage, because of his meditation, because of his presence, he has changed the nature of the tree. The tree is no more a natural, no more a ordinary tree. It has become an extraordinary tree. Anybody who sits under it goes into deep trance. Anybody who sits under and meditate, they go into a deeper meditative state. Every fruit the tree gives will change the consciousness of every person. So the Bodhi tree where Buddha sat and meditated, the tree is no more an ordinary tree. It has become an extraordinary tree. When you are an enlightened master, when you are a sage, everything you touch, a paper or a pen or a bottle or a car or a bike or a person, every object, it is all from the Mother Earth. So you change the nature of it. What is exactly mean by changing the nature of an object? You change the vibration of that object. Everything has a pulse, frequency. With your touch, you are changing the frequency of every person, every object. Our presence should make the place heaven. For that, you need to sit and meditate. Whoever you must be a great spiritual intelligent people, but you have to go through all the human experiences. You have to pass through it. Until unless you face human life, until unless you undergo the life situations, you will never know what is your degree of enlightenment. You will never know that you can pass through. Many sages are afraid. They say, we don't want to come to city. We are very happy in the forest, because they are not sure whether they can pass through the human experiences. Why don't you put a test to yourself? By being in samsara and achieve nirvana, you can pass through. Then you can declare yourself you're an enlightened person. Not sitting somewhere in the cave and declaring that you're enlightened. No way. Being in samsara, having one or two kids, taking care of family dharma, yet you have to be enlightened. That is a test. And that is maximizing your experience. Nirvana in samsara. Let you go through it. You have to pass through the human experiences. You cannot skip and run away. So you have to take one more birth, because this is very, very important lesson in the earth. So when a sage sits in a place, when he touches anything, he is influencing, he is changing the nature of everything. If he has used a staff, even that staff has greater energies now, because he has influenced the vibration of anything he touch, see, feel. His presence has changed. When my guru came to my house for the first time, he slept on my divan cot for 15 minutes, and then he went to the bedroom. After he slept, I slept on the place where he slept, and my physical body levitated. That is the influence he has created on one bed he has slept. Every great person, when he touch anything, when he sleeps, when he eat, everything, he is changing the vibration of that object or a place or the person. When you become enlightened, you are making the earth a better place, because wherever you go, you are increasing the vibration to the higher vibration. The higher frequencies and higher vibrations, there is happiness, there is prosperity, there is a lot of harmony. The lower vibrations has a lot of disturbances, negativity. So our presence should make the earth better. For that, what should we do? We have to change ourselves, increase our consciousness. Then everything around us, wherever we go, we influence, we change. Whoever comes to meet me, nowadays I'm meeting a lot of people in my office. They are traveling from many places. They come here and meet me. When they meditate here in my presence, they said, it is very heavy energy. I'm feeling very, very great. And this whole place is very energetic because I speak truth here. In my presence, my meditation, my books, my knowledge, my sessions has made this place a heaven. We have to convert and make a lot of heavens. There's a lot of pyramids here, there are a lot of crystals. I make every place a heaven. All the spiritual tools and your own self, when you transform, you influence the life of others. They get a hope when they meet you, when they see you, they get a hope. The permanent atoms inside us stores everything. So it carries from lifetime to lifetime. So your words, your emotions, your actions, when you change, when you become individual, when you become independent, you influence everything. And the same will be carried forward to your next lifetimes. You will be out of these karmic cycles. Everything from our past has a storage unit, just like our pen drive hard disks and a money box or the locker, whatever you call it as. Our everybody has a storage unit, and all these, your thoughts, emotions, actions, everything gets stored in like a vibration, like a sound in something called Akasha, that is Akashic records. So those records can be accessed by you after you die, or when you are in meditation, you can go and see and come. It is your own life. The knowledge which we speak, the other person has to understand very easily. We have to use very simple language because knowledge is like a food. When we eat food, that food has to digest. If the food doesn't digest, you know what happens. So the knowledge we give to others, it has to be a very simple and digestible. Otherwise, the knowledge you give, the other person cannot intake, and that will come back to you. I remember in year 2005, a guy called Arvind, he read a book called Pleiadian Agenda by Barbara Marciniak. And then he went to Delhi and he started giving sessions about Barbara Marciniak and Pleiadian Agenda to everybody. On that same night, he had a heavy stomachache. Then he realized that whatever knowledge he gave, nobody understood, nobody is unable to digest. Those things came back to him in the other bodies. Though he had a very good digestible food physically, since mentally he has upset many people because everybody got confused. He has created a chaos. So those things came back. The knowledge we give, when we are in public, when we are in more presence of more people, the knowledge we give has to be very simple, digestible. Otherwise, it's come back. That's a great karma again. Suppose a student who is able to understand much more better. He is able to understand his frequencies and the knowledge is more. For him, you can give something which he alone understands. But for some person, when he is not yet enlightened, he is undergoing some karmic cycles, you cannot give something which he cannot digest. I'll tell you a beautiful example of how to experiment. Knowledge is available from sessions, from books, from audios, videos, everywhere knowledge is available. But whatever you experiment, that knowledge stays with you forever. Everything else vanishes. In a school days, I remember we have theory as well as practicals. Everybody love practicals. Why? Because that is where something we understand. Theory is gone. Today it is here, and next moment it is gone. If I go back and try to remember all the experiments physically I did in school, I remember all the practicals. But theory just vanishes. So 1% of your experimentation on knowledge stays with you forever. And theories just vanish. The 12 seasons of karma, you just keep on listening, you will forget later. Today I said about Vakshetra, even if you try that 1%, that will remain. So trying, understanding something and trying is very, very important. Then keep on listening and not trying. Trying is very, very important. You have to work upon yourself. Be a light unto yourself, the final words of Buddha. You have to enlighten yourselves. Nobody will come and enlighten you because everybody is in their own path. Nobody will do your homework. You are here because you want to become more independent. You have to become more individual. You want to become a great enlightened master. So guidance will always come because when the student is ready, the master will appear. There's no question of the student is ready, we are waiting for the master. No. The masters always wait until the student is ready. The moment he is ready, the master has to rush in because that is a law, cosmic law. So you don't need to worry about, I'm not getting right guidance. No, you have to worry about not worrying and also working upon yourself. Any knowledge you get, you have to be a scientist, experiment it. People come and said, sir, this pyramid's correct or no? Sadhguru said that, this guru said that. I said, why don't you experiment? Why do we need to judge? Somebody is making judgments without experimenting. Why do you really care? I have done my own experiments on the pyramids. So I believe it. I have seen the truth. So when I give that knowledge, if you implement that for 1%, then you will know. Without implementing, experimenting, if you are taking the opinions of many people, the mind will be only in a confused state. And there's no question of enlightenment. Buddha experimented. He went to all the sages possible and he experimented everything possible. Finally, he left everything. When he got hold of his breath, he became enlightened. He's a great scientist. He was experimenting everything in the forest with eating food, not eating food, doing all the yogasanas, sitting upside down, doing all hatha yogas, every experiment he did. But finally, he understood nothing will help for enlightenment. If somebody comes and says, we want to do this, keep on doing, no problem. You're only postponing your enlightenment. Your enlightenment is getting postponed because of your actions. Not everything you need to go through to understand. Certain things, when you listen, when you see others' experiences or lifetimes, you have to read all the autobiography books. I'm a great fan of reading autobiography books by great yogis. Autobiographies tells us what they have undergone to become what. It's not so easy to stay what you really know, to stay with the truth. It's not so easy, but that is the path of enlightenment. Sometimes people don't understand you, but you have to go through. A lot of people in my sessions, they ask, sir, everybody looks at us like aliens. I said, yes, that is obvious because you're passing through the opposite current of the water. Where the whole world is running towards something, your direction is opposite, against the current. They will look at you like that. They will talk everything possible. But yet, it's all the tests. We are not here to blame anybody. We are not here to judge anybody. But we are here to work upon ourselves. Everything that happens in our life is an opportunity. That is how I see. Everything is an opportunity. This session is an opportunity for me to speak the truth, to speak my experiences, to ponder upon this one topic, karma and reincarnation. This is a great opportunity. I am working on myself right now. This is a laboratory for me. And I'm doing an experimentation here by speaking the truth for 1 hour. So I'm working on myself. My words are getting refined. All my past words are getting refined. Because in the current of words, there is a frequency, there is a truth. When we keep on speaking, it goes inside you again. The very important thing is we all know and we all do some thought of visualizations, imaginations. But it has to be very, very perfect because you create your own reality. However you want, you can shape your life. And in that process, if there is too much of bad karma, it will stop you. There's too much of good karma, you will do it in very quick way. You can do all the creative visualizations, imaginations, no problem. There are two categories of people. One set of people say, I don't do anything. Let the nature take care. The other set of people who said, I am responsible for my life. I will design exactly the way I want. Both are right. Both are useful. There's nothing wrong in it. But if you want to change the matter through your consciousness, they are using their mind power. There's absolutely no mistake in it. Because they are working on themselves, because they are working on their mind power. They're working on their thought power to see how they want to manifest the thoughts. Whatever we do, whatever we don't do, ensure that you are making the place better, you are making the other person evolve, and you are correcting yourself, and you are creating a greater future. Because I'll tell you a small story about reincarnations. Past life regressions. This is a very, very hot topic and a big buzzwords. When somebody speaks about past lives, everybody is interested. Everybody wants to know past lives. Few people who come and meet me, they say, can you read my Akashic records? Can you tell my past lives? I don't do that. If the nature wants to reveal, it has to happen naturally. And we don't sit and do anything for free of paid cash. No, no way. That's a great karma. Unless until you become enlightened, looking at your past lives is not going to help you. It is going to hinder you. Because I'll tell you one example what happened. There's a husband and wife. This wife is not yet enlightened. The husband is not an enlightened fellow. They are stuck in karmic patterns. This lady went for a course where they were doing past life regressions. And she went into her immediate past life and she saw that that same husband who is in this life, in the past life, he killed her. Imagine what could have happened. She is very upset. She understood that because of the past, we are again here as a husband and wife, but in the past life, he has killed me. Before knowing this, there was a lot of harmony in the family with the husband, the kids. But the moment she came to know about her past life, she understood because of that karma, again, we are born here. But since she is not enlightened, she mistook and she was scared now whether the same husband will kill again. The husband did not understand why the behavior of this woman has changed. And this woman left that husband. And this woman is also angry on the children. The whole life is gone. That one particular lifetime, it has screwed up everybody's plan. Yes, we are very much sure the past merits or demerits has created another incarnation. But in order to understand, you have to have greater wisdom. Without having greater wisdom, if all the past lives, if it is revealed, it creates a lot of chaos and confusion. I remember once a man called me and asked, "Sir, please talk to my wife. She is behaving very weirdly. She saw one of her past lives." So I asked, what happened? She said, she was a queen in one of her past lives. So she said, I'm not going to do any household works. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to just sit because I'm a queen. Then our masters went and spoke. You may be a great queen in your past lives. You may be a great enlightened. But in this lifetime, you have chosen this particular family. You have chosen this particular lifetime. So you have to undergo this. Your past has to give you enlightenment, not hindrance. Your past should not stop you. Your past should not confuse you. Your past should not ruin your present life. You must always focus on the present life and work upon yourself so you will have a future, greater future. And at times when it is naturally needed, the angels or the masters or from your subconscious mind, from your Akashic records, sometimes you will see your past lives. I never sat wantedly to see my past lives. I never attended any regressions to see my past lives because those are against nature, unnecessary. Because of the past, we are in the present. Any disease you have, you can declare that it may be because of two reasons. It may be because of your mind or it may be because of your karma. If it is because of your mind, from the childhood, they program you. And when you meditate, immediately, instantly, within 40 days, you will see greater change happening in the body. It is because of the mind. Certain diseases will take time. It is because of karma. It is very easy to know. Rather, we jump into many experimentations, many methods to understand why this has happened, what is that, show my Akashic records, karmic records. Why are you in a hurry? Those things, anything which gets revealed, it has to actually help you, it should not harm you. I know many of my past lives, but I never intended, I never stood strong to know. Buddha saw all his past lives. He saw when it is shown, he did not sit to see his past lives. He sat for meditation. He sat for enlightenment. He wanted to remove the sorrow from the earth. He wanted to understand the root cause of sorrow. For that, he meditated. He never sat to see his past lives. Okay, I'm a king in my past life. What matters for me now? Okay, I'm a thief in my past life. What does it matter now? If it is shown, okay, there's one lifetime that is over. We take 300 lifetimes minimum. Exactly 150 as a woman, 150 as a man. Equal in both genders. And we take multiple roles. In every role, we may perform perfectly, we may not perform, we may perform partially, we may or may not interfere. So these dramas will keep on happening. How is that knowing about that is going to help me now? If you are enlightened, if something is shown from the past life, it is going to help you. My immediate past life, I was in Himalayan cave. I was only meditating. 100 plus years I was alive. When I came to know about that past life, then I understood, okay, I have done so much of meditation in my past life. And this lifetime is not for me to meditate, for me to teach meditation. It has helped me. If I am not enlightened, if I would have seen that past life, I would have spoken great about me. You know what is my past life? You know I was a great saint. I had this power, that power. It is going to ruin your present. For me, past lives are information that should not influence my present. The end result is already we are facing it. But knowing that, it should not become an illusion. It should not become a diversion from the present. Present is a present. A week ago, two people came to me and said, sir, we want to just leave everything. The family, the business, the money. We just want to have one piece of cloth. We just want to go to some summit and then we just want to live a very simple, away from all the family stuffs. I said, from where does all these thoughts are coming? It is because exactly the past life you are like that. So now you have consciously decided to undergo this samsara because you are a great spiritual master. Now you have to undergo this human experience. You have decided, but now you want to run away. Those thoughts are coming because of your past life. So he's getting influenced. But when you meditate, you understand. So without enlightenment, knowing the past lives will ruin you. will change your direction. You are going to waste this present lifetime. Like that woman who saw that the husband is a murderer of herself in the past life, that whole family, they screwed up the entire lifetime. They have to be again born. You have to anyway face that karma. And secondly, don't focus on any particular chakra meditations on one chakra. It's very, very funny to hear the words called chakra meditations. If you have 7 kids, you have to take care of them equally. You cannot take care of one kid alone. Only third eye meditation, heart chakra meditation. And what about other chakras? How are we going to take care? The first correction you need to make and understand is we don't need to take care of our chakras. Listen carefully. Anybody doesn't need to take care of their chakras. All that you need to do is expand your consciousness. The chakras will take care of itself. You are not a driver to take care of all the chakras. You don't need to control it. You don't need to have siddhis to control and change it. That is unnecessary. That's not needed. You are going to waste a lifetime. You increase your consciousness by meditating a lot, by teaching meditation a lot, by becoming a vegetarian, by giving the knowledge, by reading books, you expand your consciousness, your chakras will automatically take care of itself. I attended somebody's session just to see, and that fellow was telling, focus on the heart, focus on the heart. So I thought, okay, why don't I try? When I focused on the heart, my inner consciousness is scolding me. What the hell are you doing? Because I'm able to hear from my inner. The others, they don't know. My inner is telling me, are you mad? Stop doing all those nonsense. It can take care of itself. What focusing on the heart, focusing on the brain is totally out of brain. Your inner soul doesn't need all those things. The one biggest scientist I know in my past is Buddha. He has done all the experiments. You name any meditation name, he has done it. You may get siddhis, you may get anything, but you have to take one more lifetime, remember. Unless until you sit and observe your breath, which he did, he became enlightened. I did many meditations. Kundalini meditation, Baula Siddhi meditation, Sai Baba meditation, sky meditation, visualization, nothing worked. When I observed my breath on that same first day, I listened to my own inner voice saying, this is what you are waiting for. This is ultimate. And that same day, my third eye is open. So it's all my personal experiences. This 16 years, everything, I can crystal clearly see how things they are. Not how I am. How things are exactly the way it is. I'm able to see. No chakra meditations. No focusing on the heart and the brain. If you really have brain, don't focus on the brain. Does the brain need you? It can take care of itself. What you need to do is expand your consciousness. When you expand your consciousness, everything else will be taken care. You don't need to take one part. Do you think all those parts needs your presence? It may give results, but again, the root cause is not resolved. You are like treating the shadow. You have to treat the roots. When you want to come out of this karmic cycles, when you want to come out of all the past life karmas, you need to treat the roots, not the shoots. You treat the roots. Roots are in the other bodies, etheric patches. Your thoughts of the past lives, your emotions, unnecessary emotions. Those things, once it is cleansed, the physical body will automatically change. We have to focus on the higher bodies, expanding our consciousness. That is what I am doing. The historic science says there is no enemy. When you are scolding others, the historic science says there is only self. The other person is also you. Krishna Chaitanya is me. Suresh sir is me. I am them. There is only self. They are not different. I am not different. If you are not able to understand, you are not yet enlightened. So simple. Sugandhi is me. I am Sugandhi. We are all same. Self. I am being identified individually, she is being identified, or he is being identified individually, but we are all one and the same. Nobody is great, nobody is low. We are all equal. That same soul consciousness had taken different roles for its own evolvement. Universally, you have to be always connected with everyone. Consciously, you are being identified with a single body. Doesn't mean you are disconnected. If you see other person as different, then you murder them, you scold them, you torture them, you praise them. If you see yourself there, naturally, that is when you can declare yourself as enlightened. Until then, it's a process. Enlightenment is a process. You need to continuously work on it. The inner door has to be opened. Who is the key? We are the key. Don't expect others to come and open the key. Nobody is going to do that for you. Your key, your practice. You have to experiment all the truths. Today, I spoke about Vakshetra. You have to experiment it. Every word you speak, you have to be very conscious. Because you are correcting yourself. So this, even if you do 1% of experiment, that will become an experience for you. Otherwise, this 1 hour you will listen everything, and tomorrow, believe me, everything will vanish. Unless until you put something into practicals, it is not useful for you. If you hurt others, it becomes a barrier in their soul. Indirectly, it becomes a barrier in your soul. So the final solution is to become independent and individual by doing the right practices, expanding our consciousness so that you see others as you, and then you don't trouble others. You don't interfere into other life forms. And you clear up all the barriers. Before you die, it is very, very important to clean up and clear up all the barriers. If you don't clean up or clear all your barriers, you will carry forward to the next lifetime and you will come back again. At most, what will happen? Somebody is coming and creating problem to you. You're mentally disturbed, you're emotionally disturbed. But I'm telling you, if somebody is troubling you, there'll be 2 reasons. One is they are either creating new karma or they are repaying your past karma. In both the cases, you have advantage. How? If he is creating a new karma for you, he has to come back and clean it. So it is his headache. Or secondly, when he is paying back, your karma is vanished, then it is also an advantage for you. So when somebody troubles you, tell them thank you. Because if they are creating the trouble for the new, they have to pay back. Or if there is any past balance, it is getting cleared. In both ways, you are in advantage, boss. When you react, verbally you abuse, mentally you react, or emotionally you have turbulence against that fellow, then you are creating another new chapter of karma. I heard in the books, when Buddha was walking, somebody came and spit on the face of Buddha. When Ananda became very angry and was about to thrash that fellow, Buddha stopped and said, hey, he may be clearing his past karma with me. Why are you interfering? He simply wiped and he went away. My guru, when somebody was scolding him, he said, you and me are same. You are scolding yourself. Look at the wisdom. Until unless you see yourself in others, others in you, you are still in the path of enlightenment. The first step is understanding. The second step is remembering. The third step, you're already that. You don't need to even remember. Enlightenment is a journey. We have to come out of all our past balances, imbalances, expand our consciousness. So this is a continuous process. It's a hard work. It is not one day job. Yes, first we will know the knowledge. Implementation will take time because your understanding depth has to change. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my dear friends. Today is a beautiful session, 12th session. We again pondered on different topics today to understand this karma and reincarnation in a new dimension. Every day, is a new dimension for me. And every week when we do this session, some or the other learning is always there for all of us, including me. I don't see I'm different and you are different. I'm telling to myself, because all of us are same, one and the same. Nobody is different here. Thank you very much. Now I open the forum for questions. You can raise your hand and speak. We see if we have any questions in the comments. Happy to see a lot of masters attending today. And just before, yeah, hi Krishna. So tomorrow there will be one more session. I'll be doing it for USA, PMC USA. I'll be forwarding that. It is all about pyramids and pyramid meditation centers. Why do we need to create meditation pyramid centers? So people who are interested also can join. And on Monday, I mean, that will be in English tomorrow. And on Monday, I have a Tamil session in PMC Singapore. So there'll be continuously sessions because I am telling to myself. So wherever people call me for an opportunity, I have never said no. I always fix and go because it's a great opportunity we give to ourselves to remind the truth again and again. So all of us are masters here. Nobody is less or greater. Whenever you get opportunity, always jump in. One of my friend told me, my own body I am healing. And somebody asked me to speak on heal your body concept. I said, it's okay. You are doing that session for yourself. Don't think only when your body is totally healed, you are eligible to go and talk. No. That 1 hour, it's a reminder for you about the truth. We need to remember here every day. Otherwise, you will fall in the trap. Anybody wants to speak? Yes, Sugandhi madam.
Sir. Namaste, sir.
Namaste.
Yes, sir. Sir, the moment you said that we need to build pyramid centers and meditation centers, I just had got this flash, just came in an idea that I too need to build my home as a meditation center.
Perfect.
And somehow it will be successful.
It will be. Everything
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Everything starts from the thought.
Yes, sir.
You have a pure intention, it will happen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And sir, I love the Yes, sir. I love the idea that you said that wherever you are, make it a heaven. And in that heaven only people love to reside. Nobody loves to reside in hell. Everybody wants to reside in heaven, whether here or after death. So, and that is what I have taken. And Master, one thing that today it was resonating so much from your speech, and I could feel is Lord Buddha's teaching. I could feel it resonating, his words and the way, especially his enlightenment and the way he was. It was really resonating in your talks today. So, Master, maybe you should start a session on him also, because there is so much to learn from his life and his teachings. Or where can I get references, learn more about him? Because if I just Google or open Kindle, thousands of books will come. So what should I read on Master? Because we all need to become Buddha.
We don't filter any books. You can read every book. When you are reading a book is a great art. I read books.
Yes.
Any one chapter or paragraph, if I don't understand, I will just skip through. I will
Yes.
not sit and ponder what is this, and I will not ask others, I didn't understand this. I don't. I just keep on reading. What my soul has to take automatically takes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And
True, sir.
whatever Buddha has spoken, we are doing the references everywhere. We don't need any special session on any Buddha or Jesus, or Muhammad or Krishna, because everywhere in every topic, they're always there. Today I spoke about Buddha. Today I spoke about Krishna. Today
Yes,
I
sir.
spoke about, it's always inclusive. No need to be anything special.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But I could feel his blessing and power that he must have been in your class. It's amazing, sir.
You
Amazing.
speak about them, they will run and come. because nobody else will
Yes, sir.
talk about what they speak.
Yes, sir.
They have
Yes,
to
sir.
come.
I could truly feel.
Very
Yes,
nice,
sir.
very nice.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
So there's one question, interesting question from Jayaprada sir. Sir, you mentioned PLR is against our karma. Yes. But why there are many senior pyramid masters do PLR, some even encourage? It is their choice. Okay, even I have seen a lot of people are doing PLRs, it is their personal choices. Okay. So I have never heard from my Guru Patriji that go for past life regression, do past life. I've never heard from him. And I've read so many books, but no, not many books they encourage about PLRs. If something has to naturally come, let it come. In the group meditation, naturally it will be revealed. And I have seen many cases where forcibly they come to know the past life and there's only confusion and chaos. How they have helped? Exceptions are always there. It is up to their individuals. Okay, they have to face their karmas, man. Whether the senior or junior master doesn't matter. When you go against the nature, they will have to pay back. Thank you, Mohitji. Thank you, Master, for divine session. Got connected to Lobsang Rampa's book reading now, seeing manifestation. Thank you, Malavika ji. It's quite confusing for new meditators, senior masters method contrary. How to overcome? It's okay. Every confusion will lead to enlightenment. Okay, it's all experimentation. Some people want to see when people search for shortcuts, they immediately jump into all these methods. Okay, prosperity sessions. Okay, I will get a lot of money. These are not money making sessions. Okay, when you expand your consciousness, abundance will automatically come to you. Abundance is what? Friendship is abundance. Money is abundance. Your health is abundance. Everything you automatically come. You don't need to go in one particular thing search for. I listen to everybody, I read every book, but I follow the strict principles, which always helps me to stay in the path. Okay, yes, it will be confusing. Whoever is creating unnecessary confusion, they will pay back the karma very heavily. If I implant one improper thing in any of your head, until unless you become enlightened in that point, my enlightenment will get postponed. Because I am very conscious of this concept. So I never interfere into others' personal affairs or any untruths. Great enlightening session. Thank you, Harshaji. Become independent and expanding. Thank you. Yes, Surendra sir. Go ahead, Surendra sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. Namaste, namaste.
So you are able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So very nice session. Today, one important thing I learned is that goal of every person is to become independent and individual.
That's it.
In this, what I learned is earlier what I used to think about astral masters or angels, why they are not, because people says that I got this experience, I got that experience of masters, and they are guiding and all. So now today I learned maybe I'm independent and individual already. That's why I'm not getting any of masters around me or anything. That point I got clarified. Is it true, sir? Is it because, and I'm able to teach people and I'm able to awaken the others. So and all that is happening, but I'm not getting any experiences. So this is what I used to have always thought, whether I'm in a right to teach others or I have to still wait and get enlightened and then move ahead. So is that the doubt I had?
So you are always in the perfect path. You are already in the perfect path. So okay, if you're able to align with the truth and you are able to guide others, you are an physical and astral master.
Okay, yes.
We don't need some astral master to come and guide. Okay, we are masters. We are guiding everyone. You are guiding a lot of people.
Yes.
We are able to get enlightenment. These experiences in meditation is a child play. It's all initial experiences.
Yeah.
I get experiences when it is really necessary. Not every day I get. Not every day, every meditation session, I don't see visions. But needed, it comes. It's all child plays, initial days. Okay.
But you got it already in the early age of starting your meditation.
It's not about age in this lifetime. It's a journey.
Okay. So I don't get any experiences, but I understand and whatever I speak, people says that they got a lot of visions and so many things.
There are very great senior masters than me. Very, very great masters. They have not got any experience. But their understanding is in a very higher level.
Okay.
Okay. The way they see the things, their consciousness is great, really great. So it doesn't matter. But because if only one third eye vision, it doesn't mean that you are a great master. No. Okay.
So that's the point.
Don't bother about the experiences. Only see whether you are able to live independently and individually, whether you are able to guide others, whether there is a peace.
Yeah, I'm able to do that 100%. And people acknowledge and they call me and all that is happening.
That's enough, sir. That's enough. You are in the journey, right journey. That's all. It's a big journey. It is not one lifetime or 1 year or 1 month.
Yes.
Continue. Thank you, sir.
And second point which I like today is that you said no troubles. So both way it helps. Very nice this point. One is you said they are creating a new karma, and paying. Other one is paying back the karma, clearing the karmas. So it's very nice this point. So that no, you don't get affected whatever it is. So you and me are same. So okay, you are troubling means you are troubling yourself. So this is a very good point I learned today.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I just got a beautiful example because the question you asked, you are not yet satisfied because you are not getting experiences.
Yes.
Okay, just got one beautiful experience. Okay, example to tell to you. Okay, somebody channeled, I don't know who. So this is a music orchestra. Okay, I'm playing piano. You are a singer. There's other guy who is playing a trumpet, another guy is playing a violin. You are saying, I am unable to play violin. But you forgot that you are a great singer. This is the orchestra. We are all together.
Yes.
Your skill is in singing. My skill is in piano. The other skill is in violin. Other one is in sitar. So everything put together, it's a band.
Okay.
So whatever you wished, okay, in this lifetime, I don't want any spiritual experiences, but I want to be in truth. That is your personal choices.
Okay.
So based on that, you are performing. So we always look for what we don't have, but we fail to look what we have. Okay. So I met a guy called Ivan Josip. They are from Croatia. So when they came to Pyramid Valley, so that is when I came to know they are my co-meditators in Himalayas in my past life. Josie don't have any experiences, but he's a very humble person. He's great heart to help others. But Ivan, he has a great intuition power. I have a great third eye power. We all sat in the same caves. We all did the same meditation. But look, one guy is working from here. I am working from here. Other guy is working from there.
Perfect, sir. Clearly understood. Thank you very much, sir. Really. Thank you.
We have to thank someone who gave this example.
Super idea. Super.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Very nice. See, certain questions will always open up newer knowledges. Okay, the question and answers are very, very important. Don't ever hesitate if you have any question, because most of them, they hesitate. If my question is wrong, whether my question is silly. There's nothing like silly question. There's nothing like wrong question. You have a question, you shoot it. Okay, people ask me, should I go and talk, ask questions to Patriji? Will he scold me? I said, if the question is right, the great answer will come. If the question is wrong, great anger will come. But anyway, it will always cleanse you. It will always help you. The more questions, don't ask questions for the sake of asking. If you have, just throw it out so that your mind becomes clear. All the blocks gets cleared. Thank you very much. It's a great opportunity for me again today. Having a great satsang here. A lot of people have attended today. And we all pondered upon this karma reincarnation again. So we'll again connect next week on the session 13 on karma and reincarnation. Until then, in between, there are a lot of other sessions. I'll be keep on posting. Attend everybody's session. Don't limit yourself to one person, one topic. Never do that. Okay, in the school days, we used to learn all the subjects. In spirituality, it's a big ocean. Learn from everybody. But when it comes to the principles, when you ask me personally, I simply follow the 18 principles of PSSM. I simply follow what my Guru Patriji said. There are many other circus keeps happening all around us. I don't comment, I don't judge, I don't bother. So my personal experiences, my alignment with my truth always help because I am independent, I am individual. I want everybody, because here the tagline is be a master, not be a slave. Be a Buddha. Be a Buddha means buddhi, means you are able to think. If you are only with the mind, you are in chaos because mind gives choices. Yes, Pushpaji, definitely this recorded talk I will publish. Thank you, everyone. Namaste. We'll again connect next week. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.